Hello ECC families. Today in this video I want to give you some tips for working with your child at home for a level D text. Our level D texts are starting to get a little bit harder. When I open up and take a look from page to page, I still am seeing some sight words, but the texts are not as repetitive in what I found in a level A and B, and sometimes even a C as well. So our focus for level D text is that students are still maintaining meaning throughout the text as they are coming across words that are a little bit tougher. So if they have to take some time to sound out words and look for different chunks that they know within words, they're still understanding the storyline and understanding what's happening throughout the text. So when we say a level D text, our students should be able to look at all of their vowels and know them consistently. We are focusing a little bit more on digraphs. So digraphs are two letters that come together to make a sound. So when I take a look at some of these words, you can see that I have the digraphs underlined in there. And when students are coming to these words, they're able to sound them out quite quickly. Sh, hush, ch, at, chat, in, thin. And they're taking a look at chunks that they know, digraphs they know, and putting those together. Blending words a little bit quicker than they have in level B and C texts. Along with the level D text, I am taking a look at a little bit longer storyline. So when I take a look, this story is not just, it's called Woody's New Hat. The story is not just about a new hat that Woody found. I need a little bit more meat to my story. So a good retell after I'm done working with this text is that at the beginning of the story, Woody dropped his hat and it got kind of messy. So he needed to look for a new one. As we go out through the text, Jesse offered lots of different hats for him, but he could never find a hat that he liked. So he kept looking and looking until finally his horse found him a hat. And it was the same hat from the beginning. And at the end of the story, Woody took his hat, that was his old hat, and he was glad to have his hat back. So if I take a look at a retell, you can see that's a little bit longer. I'm starting to get more of a storyline because there's more text in a level D. Along with that, our students are working on adding endings to words. So if I have my sight word look, they should be able to write that very quickly. But now when they're writing their sentence, I might add looking, or looks, or looked. And they're working on adding endings to the end of words, an ing, an ed, or an s. Okay? Kaylee and I are going to work a little bit today on expression. And as we get to a level D text, she is taking those words and she's putting them together in phrases. Our reading is sounding hopefully a little bit less choppy, and she's working very hard on putting words together in phrases. Now, what I'm going to encourage her to do as she's going along here is to take a look, and I want her to think about how the character is feeling. And if the author gives me an indication about how my character is feeling, I should make my voice sound like that. So Kaylee, you and I today are going to work on this page. We've already read that text, and we're going to go back and work a little bit on our fluency. So I'm going to put this here, and Kaylee, I want you to go ahead and read this page. And you notice these quotation marks? That's where Woody's going to be talking. And I want you to think about when he's talking, what is he going to sound like? Okay, here we go.
Woody is sad. He does not have a hat. All I want is a brown hat with a big brown ear.
That word is says. Okay, now when you were reading this page, let's take a look at that first sentence. What does it say? Woody is
sad.
Now wait a minute. When I read this, when he's talking, is he going to sound sad or is he going to sound pretty happy?
sad.
Can we reread this and make him sound kind of sad? He doesn't have his hat, does he? So we want him to sound sad because he's missing his hat. Can you try that again?
All I want is a brown hat with a big rum, he says.
He says, oh, you made it sound kind of sad, didn't you? Yeah, that's how he was feeling in the story. So we really want our voice to reflect how a character sounds. And if we read in the same tone all the time, then that doesn't help us understand the meaning quite as much of the story. When we change our voice to sound like the characters, then we are understanding the story a little bit better. So that is a skill that we really push in Level D text, is working on our fluency, putting words into longer chunks and phrases and making our voices sound very similar to the characters. Along with working on fluency, students are continuing to develop their sight words. They should, at Level D text, be able to read and write 40 different sight words. After reading, they should be able to retell that story with a quality beginning, middle, and end, and answer some additional questions about the story. Maybe talking about how the characters change from the beginning of the story to the end. In addition, when students are going to writing, their writing is continuing to increase and their stamina is continuing to increase as well. And we are expecting 2 sentences with writing with a Level D text. So just to sum up a little bit, a Level D text, it is not as easy to read our words as our sight words are changing a lot. Our picture will give us a little bit of a clue, but not as much in those early level texts. Students should have their vowels down pat and working on words and sounds that have digraphs in. Their sight words are increasing up to a minimum of 40, and their writing has 2 sentences after they are done reading.